Thank you. Okay, I think there's a slight danger of talking a crisis into existence, exacerbated by some made-up statistics about the number of phony papers that get published, not to mention the phony statistics that we've just been enjoying. I think it's actually more interesting than that, and I think it's certainly more interesting than IBM's Palmisano tells it. I think it could be that we're on the verge of growing up. And in a sense, what's happening is that because science is successful, then everybody's interfering. You know you're doing well if you work in an institution, when everybody sort of climbs on top of you and tells you what to do because they want to share in your success. So there are good signs there. I think it's a bit actually like being human. I think there's a stage in your life when you're concentrating on being right and being competent and being handsome and winning and all that stuff. And then you sort of grow up and you become more aware of your failings, and people from outside help you become aware of your failings, in my experience, and that's fine. And you gradually learn to live with your failings and to see that not as an error, not as bad DNA, but as actually part of you and quite an important part. And if you've got enough ego strength, if you're sufficiently coherent, you can cope with that and you can grow from it and you learn to listen to other people. And maybe science is doing something analogous to that. Thought one. Thought two, this is a series of random thoughts, it's all I can manage. Complexity. Science isn't the only thing that's complex. Quite a lot of things are complex. And maybe we can look at other things that are complex and ask yourself if they're having the same sort of discussions that we're having. I often wonder whether there are organizations for public understanding of football or public understanding of economics or public understanding of something else. So science is less unique, perhaps, than we think in that way. Third thought, uncertainty. Scientists cope with uncertainty in various ways. You sometimes wonder whether policymakers can cope with uncertainty rather than handing out certainty to the unthinking masses. You wonder whether society can cope with uncertainty. Well, of course, we all cope with uncertainty. You have only to travel to realize that. But somehow learning how to deal with uncertainty and resisting the temptation to run for the cover of a phony certainty, I think is an important feature of the interaction between science and society, and when talking to policymakers in particular, that's something one has to be very clear about. Fourth thought, I think we need to be aware of what we mean when we're talking about science, in the sense that there's academic science, publicly funded academic science, which may be the what we think of when we use the word science. Most science isn't like that at all. Most science is done in private industry. Quite a lot is done in government organizations. Some is done in the JRC, I believe. And then there's citizen science and all sorts of other new things. So science covers many different institutional contexts, and that affects how we think about it, and that affects how the interaction with society plays. Scapegoat function. One of the functions of policy, I used to have a cartoon that showed a minister talking to his new policy advisor and saying, "Shut up, when I want your advice, I'll ask for it, just get ready to take the blame." And part of the function of policy advisors is to be blamed. And science lost in the UK over the BSE issue. Science actually said, "We don't know, these are the orders of magnitude." The minister got up and said, "The scientists tell me it is safe," and of course it wasn't. But somehow science got stuck with having lost that battle. So beware the scapegoat function. But the scapegoat function is really important in society. It's how we deal with guilt and with failures of various kinds. So we need to think that one through. Trust. Bankers, you have problems with bankers. They're too big to fail, we were told. Think that one through. Well, maybe science is too big to fail as well, and think that one through and where that leads you. But my final comment, really, I think if science is on the verge, if it is, a crisis is a period of change. It's not the end of the world. And I think what we have is a period of change, certainly, but it doesn't have to be a nervous breakdown. It could be a passage to a more skilled and mature way of being. Thank you.